All right, Kirk. So we're going to talk about this horror movie recently came out. I just saw it, and this is one of the most unique horror movies that I've ever seen in my life. I watch probably 40 or 50 horror movies a year at least. And this one is one of the most different and unique and interesting that I have ever seen. It
It's really disturbing.
blew me away. So the movie is in English, I think the title is When Evil Lurks. Cuando
Yeah.
acecha la maldad is the original title, an Argentinian movie. So have you seen it or have you only
I've
seen
watched a synopsis of it.
a synopsis of it? Okay.
Yes, but I saw a lot of the really gross stuff. So,
Well, that's the thing is the to me the most like the essence of the movie, the most impactful part of it is not even the body horror, and it does have really good body horror.
yeah.
It does have some really intense scenes of violence, body horror, gore, but that's not even the main point of the movie. I've got Baby Owl here to talk
Yeah.
about a horror movie because he's a horror movie buff.
What if
So
the baby owl just like right now, just out of nowhere, just ate you? I'd be like this movie.
that's what it
That's
feels.
the thing that's terrifying about this movie is the suddenness of the attacks.
Okay, so the synopsis you watched it conveyed that the sudden did
Yeah,
it?
I mean, like, yeah, where it's just like the second he shoots that goat, his wife just clunk. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's well. So we'll talk general, and then we'll do a spoiler alert, and we'll go more in depth. Um,
Spoiler alert, he shoots a goat at some point.
yeah, yeah. A goat gets shot if you're a goat lover. Uh, Trigger warning.
Goat lover.
So, let's talk real general, and then at some point we'll do like a spoilers, and then going really into depth into what exactly is going on in the movie. So the general idea, it's set in rural Argentina, starts off in this real small town, rural community, and something strange is going on. There's a presence. There's a presence that's haunting people, and it's appeared in this community. And this is what's so cool about the movie right from the get go is that they've created a whole new thing, a whole new villain, monster, mythology for this movie that does not exist,
Mm,
that didn't exist before this movie.
yeah,
And that to me is one of the coolest things about it. When when I first saw the previews for it, and the previews have some of that body horror. The Let me
yeah.
pull up a picture on the screen here. Here's the
Does this
uh
demon have a name?
no, that's what's great about it. The
Nameless.
It's in the movie, and again, I haven't seen it with English subtitles. I'm not sure how they convey it all in let's share screen here. There we go. In English, I'm not sure how they translated all the language, but in the original, they just refer to it as evil.
Oh
They
yeah.
they talk about, sometimes they call it like the devil or el demonio, or most of the time they're just talking about evil. But they're referring to when they talk about evil, it's clearly this thing that is a whole new kind of villain that operates in its own special way in this movie within the universe of the movie.
Yeah.
There are a couple times where they talk about like the Judeo-Christian language for the devil, and they even mention the names of the devil. They say you're not supposed to name it. Um, that's actually one of the rules of how it works is you by naming it or mentioning it, you give it more strength in this world. There's a scene where the grandma lists through. She has a fun little like poem song that she tells her grandson of the rules you have to follow. Almost like with Gremlins, there are those rules. Don't feed them after midnight.
Yeah.
There's a list of rules you have to remember, and there unique rules here. Like some of them involve for this evil to come, you don't want to use electricity or electric light that attracts it somehow. You don't use firearms. Using a firearm makes it spread more. So, so the question, like, what is it exactly?
Right.
They call it evil or a devil or a demon, but it's not a classic demon in the way that we think of. It's
Right.
not. It's not purely spiritual. It's got a physical element, and it almost spreads kind of like a virus. So it has elements of all these different mythologies and villains.
Yeah.
Like it can spread through physical contact or proximity. At the beginning of the movie, they find the first guy, which is the guy that you see on all the a lot of the promo. Let's find the
Yeah.
picture of this. Here he is.
Kind of a gooey guy.
Yeah, this guy just all deformed and fucked up looking. So they find him. They call him an embichado, like he's got the bug inside him. He's
Mm.
infected. So he's an embichado, and so at first you think, okay, this is a movie about a virus. It's going to be like either a kind of a zombie story, or
Yeah.
else kind of like what was that movie from the '90s with the virus, the Outbreak?
Outbreak.
There's some new scary virus that's killing
Yeah.
everybody. So you think it's just going to be some kind of physical virus, and they actually take this guy in the truck. They drive him down the road. They're trying to get him out of town because they don't want it to spread. So in the beginning, they're treating it like a virus, but they're talking about it like a demon.
Yeah.
And then eventually, there are enough scenes where the evil, the villain, it has a consciousness and it talks through people, and it does make people do self-destructive things and hurt themselves and hurt others, and it makes them become violent. But it's not a zombie story.
You know, a side note, the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. Do you remember? Did you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when you were a kid?
Oh, I
The
was not allowed to have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You could buy tubs of ooze. You know, like the
Oh,
secret of the ooze.
from movie number
And they had
two.
like an ooze launcher and stuff. And it looked a lot like that. It's really taking me back to my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle days.
Nice. I'm
Mm.
glad that brought some pleasant memories up for you.
Looks tasty. Just a little dab.
A
Just get a
little
little
da-
dab
a
of
little
it.
dab will do you, like brow
Eh,
cream.
this guy seriously looks like a human pimple. I just want to pop all of them.
Yeah, yeah. There's some gnarly body horror.
All
So let's go back to
right,
the
go to another
poster.
picture. Yeah, that's
Yeah, let's
gross.
get off of that. Yeah, the poster, the scene you mentioned with the axe and shooting the goat. So that's did you in the stuff you watched online? Did you see that full scene, like how that
Yeah.
plays?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that at that point I was like, okay, this is a cool movie. This is something
Yeah.
totally new that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I'm not crazy about zombie movies.
I don't love zombie movies. I have mixed feelings about demon movies a lot of the time too, but yeah, this one I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, and so my fiance and I talked about it. We had a little debate. She sees the villain as a demon. It's just sort of a different kind of demon. I see it as just a new monster they've created that in within the world of this movie, the people call it a demon or evil just because they live in a Catholic society and they would use
Yeah.
the language available to them for this new evil thing, this new
Yeah.
scary monster. You're going to call it a devil, just like if an
Right.
ancient tribe came upon a dinosaur, they'd probably call it a demon too.
Yeah, it could be an extra dimensional being that like this is the only way that it can like come onto our plane of existence is like some weird because it does have some weird physical tie to the world. Like the whole
Yeah,
thing about them with the clothes and then it jumping into the dog from their clothes.
yeah,
That's very interesting. It's like, God, shit, you should have taken your pants off, you idiot.
yeah. I mean, it works. Yeah, so they're after they've handled this guy who's infected, they drop him off. They've
Just
they've
drop.
gotten Yeah, they just drop him in the road, just dump him in the road
They,
and get.
they lose them, don't they? Like you just like
Yeah,
they like take a turn too fast or something. Like
yeah. Well, a kid appears in the road, so they brake real hard, and he falls
yeah,
out of the truck, and
it's like a
then
Chris Farley movie.
fat guy in a little coat.
That demon container ready to burst.
So they get to their destination. They're just trying to drive him as far out of town as they can, and then they get there and he's gone. They're like, "Fuck, he must have fallen out of the truck." And the guys they just say, "Well, shoot, he's far enough away from town. Fuck it, let's just leave him."
I
and
think that's murder.
yeah,
I guess they were getting ready to murder the guy anyway. He seemed to
well, that's the interesting thing here. This is the guy's son after a
the
pretty bloody
autistic
scene.
kid.
The
Yeah.
autistic kid. So the interesting thing too is it's so different from a zombie movie, and the reason I don't like zombie movies is because I find them just boring.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always the same story, with the exception of a few zombie comedies like Zombieland and Warm Bodies, where the zombie falls in love with the girl and kind of becomes human. Um,
Zombodies.
but it's always the same story, and you know exactly how they work, and it's basically just a shoot 'em up story. It's kind of this very
Yeah.
American fantasy of get as much guns as you can and ammo and shoot them in the head and you're good to go. So as long as
Yeah.
you have guns and ammo and you're, far enough away from the zombies, you just shoot the hell out of them and you're okay. Here it's the opposite. If you shoot a person who's been affected by this evil presence, if shooting them, it's almost like it's spores of a mushroom
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Somehow their energy gets splattered everywhere.
Yeah, and the act of shooting them or killing them with violence splatters that energy everywhere. And
So
so
I think the thing that's the most demonic, the entity does seem to be beyond, I mean, the violence, obviously, but even beyond the violence, it is a malevolent entity. Like it
yeah.
like when it's in people, it like threatens them and stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's got, and that's probably the most demonic
Does the
thing
goat
about it.
threaten him? Does the goat say something to him?
What says, meh.
That's
No,
like the
it doesn't.
witch. Like
No, it doesn't. The
the
goat doesn't
witch.
talk. But yeah, when it infects people, it makes them like bring up your sins and your
Yeah.
fears and your insecurities. Like it does sort of feed off of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the
That's fairly
most,
demonic.
yeah, I think that's probably the most demonic thing about it, actually.
Yeah.
Because that's in classic demon stories, like in The Exorcist, the demon will throw your mistakes and your shortcomings
If you
at
want to
you.
buy into all those demon stereotypes, I guess. I mean, frankly, I don't see demonhood.
I mean, it's a spectrum too.
Yeah. It's a specter spectrum.
It's a continuum. Ah, yeah. So when people are infected by it, they will like tell you things about yourself that are your things you want to forget about, your biggest regrets and everything.
Your
So
penis is 2 inches shorter than average.
oh, oh, that's
It's
true
like, oh,
too.
don't rub that in my face.
How did you know that? Why didn't you tell me that during the tarot reading that we just
Don't
did?
rub my tiny penis in my face.
I'll barely feel it anyway. Yeah, so these two main characters, these are the guys that we follow throughout it.
Yeah.
Now let's go right into spoiler territory here, because I want to talk about how this thing operates, because it's kind of like an organism, and
Yeah.
so it has that malevolent side to it of bringing up all these things that you hate and fear,
Yeah.
but it's also like when it arrives in a location, it has to plant roots in enough people to, as part of its life cycle, it affects a bunch of people around it, but it's not a demon that wants to possess someone permanently. Like it kind of possesses people temporarily if they get too close to, even like the clothes that touch the guy who was infected. And
Yeah.
then the dog sniffs the clothes and then it infects the dog, and the dog attacks the girl. And that, here's a picture of the actress with the dog.
Oh,
So
that's cute.
we know she's okay. It was just
It was just a movie because I thought
a
maybe
movie.
they showed a
You
video.
thought maybe it was a snuff
Yeah.
film.
I could yeah, I could go either way. So here's the thing though. So why is this thing, I understand that like it like wants to spread out everywhere, but why is it so mean? Like what's the point of
See,
like
I
doing
see.
horrific weird stuff? Like it doesn't even just make you kill people, like it makes you like do really awful things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like eat people, like
Yeah.
eat parts of the body of your loved ones, which there's parts where it does that.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah, and but it is like almost, you could draw a parallel with some real life physical um parasites that exist out there. Like there are some
Right.
parasites that they're not
Yeah.
malevolent, but you sure as hell could think they are. Just
Yeah.
the way they operate. There's nematode is the name of one. It's this bug, very tiny, like microscopic bug, and
Yeah.
so its life cycle goes from ants to birds to ants to birds. in the Amazon jungle, I think, or jungle canopy somewhere in the world. So this nematode, and it fucks up the life of everything it touches. And that's like part of how it keeps existing.
Yeah.
So the nematode exists in the ant.
Got like a borderline personality.
Yeah, it does. It's ridiculous. So it's in the ant. When an ant gets infected by the nematode,
yeah,
it makes the ant do stupid things. So the ants naturally, they stay close to the ground. They stay deep, deep in the jungle so that predators can't come and eat them. But once they get infected by the nematode, they do the opposite. They climb up the tree, they go up into the canopy right at the top of that jungle canopy, and they just walk around like idiots on the leaves up there. So they're out in the open, and of course birds see these tasty ants walking around, and the birds say, "Oh, awesome, free snack." Birds come down and snatch up the ants and eat them. So it's fucked up the ant's life. But now the bird's got that thing inside of it. The bird ate the ant with a nematode inside it, and now the nematode starts spreading itself out inside the bird's stomach, and it eats the bird from the inside out.
Gross.
Until the bird's flying around and it just can't function anymore. It eats all the organs, so the bird just crash lands. It can't survive, and it crash lands into the jungle, falls down.
Ants come get it.
Falls down to the ground, and the ants come and get it, and they eat the bird.
And this circle of life. And nematodes.
Yeah, it's this just fuck. Oh, sorry, ear muffin baby owl. Fucked up life cycle that's just fucking up every creature in its path.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
So that to me is what the monster in this movie is like. So it's kind of like a parasite, and kind of like a fungus. Yeah, that sort of like it to gestate. It doesn't just need one human host. It takes a village, like Hillary Clinton once said. It takes a whole village of people, and it gestates in all of them, again, as many people as it can. Yeah. And it's almost like that collective hosting of the parasite is part of its life cycle. But then there's the one guy who's the main host. So he's called el embichado in Spanish. He's the infected one. The big fat guy. Yeah. Let's go back to him. And so
don't stop going. I don't want to look at him. Okay, I'm closing this.
Okay. Oh, you're eating dinner too, huh?
I'm not. But I'm hungry.
Let's go back to the protagonist. We'll go to the English language. There we go. There's the English poster.
There you go.
So it's like the whole community is kind of the host for this thing, but then the main embichado, the main infected guy, is the main host. So it's gestating inside his actual physical body, but it's infected enough people to become kind of like cult slaves of this presence. So did you watch the ending, like
all the children of the corn?
All creepy little kids hanging out at night in the classroom in the school. And
I certainly did. The protagonist makes a lot of stupid decisions.
Oh, that's the worst one that he makes, those.
Yeah, it's like, have you not been paying attention to what's been happening the whole movie, you idiots?
Yeah.
Maybe he can't speak Spanish.
Yeah, he's the only one in the movie who doesn't speak Spanish.
It's like, I wish I knew what was going on right now.
He's actually speaking Mandarin the whole time. He's the only one. I don't know why. So in that ending, it's cool too, because he's with the lady, and she's the only one who like really knows how to fight these things. So you remember she's got like a contraption. It almost looks like alchemy. It's this weird metal.
I do. And I do. And he doesn't use it. She gives it to him.
Well, she starts to use it, and then he fucks up, so she gets killed by the kids.
I know.
And then it's all over, which is amazing. I love that the movie does that, because we see that there's a mechanism to exorcise or kill these things.
It's
but
like the end of humanity, right? Like, well, that's it. It's over, man.
Yeah. Well, also like a good movie that creates a good mythology is where you can tell that the creators made something this big, but they're only showing you this much of it.
Yeah.
But you can tell they created all this other stuff around there, like that apparatus, but we never get to see how it works. We just see her like pull it out and start to set it up. And we never see like, why does it work? We just know that It's like a
Also,
pseudo-scientific kind of thing.
how does that priest from the beginning get cut in half?
Oh, the guy, well, the he was the cleaner. He was like the first. He wasn't even a
Yeah,
priest. He was just a
or
cleaner.
what? Well, he was the one who was gonna come out and kill the guy with those instruments and stuff, right?
Right. He was gonna
And
like exorcise it.
yeah, I don't know if he was a priest or whatever, but he was like a professional who knew how to like
Yeah.
kill the guy in the right way. But then when they found him, he was cut in half, right?
Yeah.
Why? Who cut him in half?
Oh yeah. Who did cut him in half? Huh. I
Yeah,
mean, somebody did.
yeah, I don't know. I thought that was weirdly. I was like, they never really followed up on that.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe
Good
the
point.
thing was like was like infecting people in that area, but
Yeah. I mean, I would I think
it
the
seemed very
assumption.
contained, you know.
Yeah, the assumption is that it managed to make some person in the area come and cut him in half.
Yeah. That or like for whatever reason when I saw it, I was like, maybe he parachuted in and it got caught on something. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But now in my mind, I kind of have this idea that there was this priest parachuting in to like kill a big fat guy.
Yeah, they well no, what's another great thing about it is within the universe of the movie, everyone has been like coexisting with this phenomenon for a long time, and they all know that it's a thing. And so we, as the viewers, we're discovering it in real time as the main characters confront it. We're going along with them. They know what's going on, but we don't, and we have to like slowly figure out because they're all just talking with each other as people who are in the know. They're insiders on
Yeah.
what the evil is, and and there's also like there's some interesting kind of cultural commentary because they talk about how in the city it's common. Like there's a lot of infected people and bichados in the city, but they're like it hasn't come out to the countryside so far. So this is like a new scary thing for
That's
this
happening.
for it to come
Was
out to a rural place like this.
so in this world, like places everywhere are this is happening. It's not just in
Yeah.
this one community.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time it's happening in this rural community, but the way they talk about it, it's like in the city it's very common. And they even
It's
talk
very
about
common for people to get possessed by demons by this demon.
yeah, yeah, this so
All right.
this the evil,
So
the
this is the end of it's the end of the world happening basically.
well kind of but then the woman who has that instrument, she's spent years and years like fighting this thing and she knows how to fight it.
Right.
And so she talks about how living in the city, and she says when you live in the city you learn to coexist with people who are infected. And there's almost like this weird balance. So like it's just sort of a like it's like coexisting with crime, coexisting with terrorism, or
Yeah.
anything that could exist in a city that you live in, and you find a way to still go about your life and have a job. You just do it terrified, and you
Yeah.
learn to take precautions.
Yeah. Coexisting with people who don't use their blinker when they switch lanes on the freeway.
Coexisting
There-
with people who press the crosswalk button with their foot so they get there.
oh, I hate them so
They get,
much.
those are the real demon possessed people.
Well, thank you for your insights on this movie. I actually really like this movie. I would watch the whole thing too. I
Yeah.
watched it on How to Survive, and it was a good one.
So tell me and the viewers why do you with why do you prefer to watch like synopses of, is it just with horror movies because you don't want to do
Well,
the
so right now, pretty much the only thing I do, yeah, I started watching horror movie synopses a long time ago because I don't always love the experience of like sitting through a horror movie and like feeling all of the anxiety of the pacing and everything. But I find the concepts of horror movies fascinating. And so I actually kind of like watching them in the context of like, so like I watch it through the channel's called Nerd Explains and the series is called like How to Beat. And over the course of about 20, it's usually about 20 to 25 minutes. So it's a pretty good chunk of time.
yeah
They show clips of like the most important parts. They kind of talk through a lot of the plot. They make jokes, they kind of dip in and out of it. It's not the commitment of sitting down and watching it too. And a lot of them are bad too,
yeah
like you can watch a 20-minute synopsis of a bad movie. I don't want to sit down and actually watch the whole thing.
sure
But this one was good. This one I would actually consider going and rewatching the whole thing too, just to get the whole sense of it.
Yeah, I highly recommend doing that with this one because this
But
one, like beyond the shocking scenes, which they're like the scene with the dog and the girl, where just out
yeah,
of nowhere the dog just goes nuts and shakes this girl and tears her to pieces.
yeah,
Like
it's a
it
bummer.
is a genuinely horrifying scene. But even beyond all those scenes, just the experience of this slow build of dread and not knowing where this is heading. I mean, now you know how it ends,
Yeah,
but to experience it in real time over an hour and a half is
yeah.
definitely worth doing for this one.
I'll tell you a good movie that you would have preferred doing the synopsis of was Skinamarink. Like the synopsis of
Oh, see,
Skinamarink was fun to watch,
see
but
that
actually watching Skinamarink was a bummer.
that that was we watched it together. That was such
Yeah,
a bummer. Oh
yeah.
my, just nothing fucking happens.
But just like
Nothing.
a 15-20 minute synopsis of it where you go through like all the high points and you get a sense of the whole thing, that's like perfect.
Even that sounds like too
Yeah, it
much.
was too much. Yeah.
Like I could have taken 3 or 4 minutes of a synopsis.
All right, man. I got to
Yeah.
eat. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten anything.
All right. Well, before you do, let's have one more
Oh,
look
God.
at this.
Oh, it looks like my testicle after Cabo that one time. That was a good time.
Ooh, I think you went to a different Cabo than most people go to.
Went to Senior Tadpoles and had a margarita made in my mouth.
Cheers, Maxim! All
Oh
right, so
boy.
that's Cuando acecha la maldad, when evil lurks. Definitely check it out, gang. Highly
Yeah.
recommend. One of my favorite horror movies that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, come follow my mythology channel too. Heroes, Gods, and Monsters.
Yeah, we'll put some links to Kirk's channel in the thing, and I'll send you this video. We'll upload this bad boy.
All
Rock and
right.
roll. All right. This is me and Baby Owl signing out.
Bye.
Woo!